Right, we're not here to waffle on about waffly stuff.
Our love for each other.
No way, man. We're here to waffle on about Super Metroid. That's what the
Super
kids
duper
are clicking this
Metroid.
button to go on this
That is
video
true.
for.
That is
Super
true.
Metroid.
Do you have your facts that you want to spit out?
Man's got facts.
Man's got
Man's
facts.
got facts. I did a Google.
I'm not gonna lie, like I love it when you come with these facts, you know.
Don't expect anything spectacular. It's just
It's like, I'm like, oh, I can't wait.
I'm the last person on earth who should be spitting facts about Metroid.
In
But
all fairness, right, you played it not that long ago.
I have
So
played it the most recent.
you have played it the most recent. Yeah,
Which
I've not played it for a while actually, and I'm quite thinking about that because
it was probably
it was last year.
start of the year maybe.
Hmm. Because you're
But I did,
asking me for like hints and tips.
yeah, man. I did play it from start to finish. Which
You have finished it then.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that I was proud of that. And that's why I'm quite happy to talk about it. Not that I know much or remember much of it.
But this is the thing though. We're talking about the experience of and memories of playing it. So
Exactly.
it's not a 100% factful thing, but it's what
One
we
fact
experienced playing.
I did not look up, which I hope
Mhm.
you will remember.
Yeah.
When did it come out?
1994.
1994. I thought it was sooner than that. I thought it was earlier than
1994.
that.
I think it's 1994.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna I never played it till mid 2000s.
Ooh, I thought you were old school, right on it, playing it on the
No,
SNES back in the
no.
90s.
And actually, do you know what? I am so thankful that I didn't play it when I was 9 years old
Why?
because I think I would have ended up hating the game.
Yeah, it's not an easy game.
No, not in the slightest.
No.
Like I'd seen it, and you've seen it in the magazines and reviews, and I knew of like the Metroid on the NES.
Yeah.
Didn't know about the one on the Game Boy until after this.
Is that
After I played that.
Fusion?
Yeah, no,
Zero
the actual
Mission.
original Game Boy.
Oh, the
It's
original Game Boy.
Metroid 2, Samus Returns.
Oh,
I think.
yeah.
Samus Returns.
And that is a good game apparently as well, isn't it?
It's quite a. It's like a big giant game of hide and seek.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Metroid 2. Yeah. You've got, I can't remember if it's like 50 or 49 Metroids or something like that, and you've got to go through and hunt them down
Okay.
and kill them all, essentially, is what Metroid 2 is. Because obviously it's on the Game Boy, you can't have the same sort of, grandiose sort of like level design as you could do on the NES or on the SNES.
No, but they probably did what they could do for the hardware.
Yeah, yeah. The thing that I always remembered as a kid, like in the game stores, I think it was one of the first games that came with an official guide. And so your SNES boxes were probably about that big, something like that. I mean, I'm doing this, it's got no thing in the camera, but here it's like to that side. But the box for it's in my head. But the actual box for Super Metro when it came out was like a big, massive, honking, huge box.
Yeah.
And it's because it had the guide that came with it, because obviously it was so hard that you needed a guide to get through it, especially for kids.
Yeah, which you do. There was the odd time. I mean, we'll delve into the game proper soon. But, I did consult you on occasion.
Yeah.
And I also consulted the Googs. I did Google some bits because you can't remember where you have been or haven't been, or there's all the secrets and stuff to get the extra energy tanks and so I remember, but as infuriating as it can be, where you're at this end of the map, but you need to go on this end. It is infuriating having to do the journeys over and over again, but it was such a fun game. I didn't mind doing the journeys. It's just a fun side scroller. Well, we delve into what it actually is because it became its own thing.
Yes,
but man's got facts.
Come on, right, hit me with these facts.
Fire facts.
Let's go. Go on.
I basically just Googled Super Metroid facts just to see if there's some I could bring up for a bit of banter. So, Super Metroid was almost cancelled 3 times.
What?
Because the Japanese weren't big fans of it.
Really?
It flopped in Japan, apparently.
No
Metroid.
way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, NES Metroid apparently was a flop in Japan. So the fella who makes Metroid, or the team, whichever Nintendo team person, wanted to make Super Metroid, had a very hard time making it, but did end up making it. Took him 3 attempts, apparently. Do you know who the inspiration was behind Samus's look, her lady looks?
Thingy from Alien.
No, wasn't Sigourney. It's like the one thing from Alien that isn't referenced in the entire game. Is
really?
Not
I thought Ridley was.
No, because she's a blonde. Samus is a blonde bombshell.
Yes. What? She is a blonde bombshell.
It was Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger?
Basinger. Wait.
Yeah.
Really?
Apparently. If you Google her, you can see it.
Okay, I will not Google her right now in the presence of my wife.
Why not? Would you like me to do it for you? I can't be asked. People Google Kim Basinger. You wouldn't even know who she is.
I know who Kim Basinger is.
Yeah, everyone knows the name. But when you see her, you'll get it. Speaking of Kim Basinger, players were going to get a glimpse of nude Samus whenever she got killed. Apparently, she'd die, and then apparently her armor would explode, and you would see pixel boobies.
The armor does explode in Super Metroid, but she's in the thingy since she's in like top and shorts.
Okay, there you go. So the animation would happen, and then she would show boobs. Apparently,
she would show.
But then it got canned. It got cancelled.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was a bit risque. But yeah, I mean, the death animation, like when she dies, is actually like quite phenomenal. Like the detail that's in the suit exploding off it.
I can't remember it, but
it's pretty good.
Enemies were almost too cute to kill, apparently, because all the Nintendo devs were very good at designing cute, happy characters. So they got the same people who designed all the cute bloody Kirby characters, I'm guessing, or whatever, to design for Super Metroid. And at the start, they were all too cute, so people didn't want to kill them. So they had to redesign the enemies and make them a bit more horrible.
Because like the generic planet enemies are like they're the same as what they are in the original Metroid.
Yeah, that's apparently so. The sounds from the game's bosses were sampled straight from Godzilla movies.
I can hear that actually in some of them. Yeah.
Apparently,
especially Ridley's roar, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's apparently all the bosses have taken different samples from different Godzilla films of the past.
Okay.
And Super Metroid, this is the last one. Super Metroid was supposed to be the last game in the series.
Kind of was, really. But was it like 8 years?
Yeah.
10 years? Yeah.
Isn't it? I'm guessing Metroid Dread is the first 2D one since then.
Yeah,
like
it's the first one. proper 2D sequel. Yeah.
So that took a while.
And that technically did. I mean, it missed the N64. There was never a Metro game for the N64.
There was supposed to be, though, wasn't there? I kind of remember there was supposed to be.
There was always talk. There's always talk, and I don't ever think that there was some. See, it wasn't easy. It was probably easier to do Mario and Zelda in 3D than it would be for a Metroid game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, your Metroid game's all about exploration, and yes, they've done Zelda and all that sort of stuff, so they had got that sort of like 3D pedigree behind them. But can you imagine what it would look like on the N64? That sort of like polygon, a 3D sort of like shoot 'em up thing. I don't think they were quite ready to transition on the N64 for 3D.
They did attempt it with Castlevania,
and that was absolutely
is the connection with Metroid, and it was pants. It was massively canned. So maybe that sort of was. Maybe we'll lay off because they waited until the GameCube.
Yes,
and they did Prime, make a 3D
and then Yeah, Prime, and yeah, they did the right thing in making it like an actual first person. Um, and also Metroid Fusion came out on the Game Boy Advance,
Yep.
which wasn't a direct sequel, but it was set slightly in the future.
I enjoyed what I
Um,
played of Fusion and
mm,
Prime. I've not
mm.
been able to stick with them. I can probably stick with Fusion if I tried,
Yeah,
but I found Prime difficult to stick with because it is very outdated controls
yes,
and it's very
yeah,
difficult to play. But
yeah.
are they remaking
Well,
it or remastering it?
they are redoing it. Yeah,
Has it been
It- it-
confirmed?
yes,
Okay, so I will
the
probably play
trilogy.
that
Yeah,
as long as it's updated controls and stuff.
I cannot wait
Yeah, that'll
for
be
that with
fun.
updated control scheme.
Mm,
Definitely,
that'll be fun because
definitely.
I played it a bit on the Wii when I got a Wii last year. Rebought a Wii
Hmm.
last year. It
Hmm.
was one of the first ones I played, and it is fun. It's got the quirkiness of the Wii, but
Yeah.
that's just not how I want to play a game. To be
Hmm.
honest,
Yeah.
they get away with it with Resident Evil 4 for me, but
Mm.
it's a good novelty. But I don't want to play. How
Full
long
game.
is the game? 10+ hours.
What the Prime?
Yeah,
More like 30.
30. Yeah, I'm not playing like this for 30 hours. Get stuffed. Yeah, no thanks.
No, no. I know, I know.
But
Do you know what
anyway,
though?
yeah.
Good facts. Good facts.
Hey,
I like that.
thanks, bro. Definitely didn't Google it.
We need to make like a little segment.
Fat facts, baby.
Facts. Yeah, that's what we'll call it.
I'll try and do it, and no matter what game it is, I'll try and come up with
Yeah,
some
just
facts.
try
They
and
could
find
be
something.
utter
That's good.
tosh,
That's good. We could do
but
like a little like record, like a fat facts.
fat facts. I know,
Oh
but this is
god,
why I want
right,
to do.
okay.
This is why I want to do like Ultra Gak Attack or something, so we can talk about modern games as well,
Modern, I know,
like
I know.
Marvel Snaps.
Mm,
Oh, I
no.
really want to talk about Marvel Snap and God of War
We can
Ragnarok.
still talk about Marvel. Oh, Ragnarok. I'm getting that for Christmas, by the way. So, but
I
I'll be not. I'll
finished
get
it.
to play it for
I
like another
finished it.
20 years or whatever. So,
Oh, you need to play it. It's so good.
no, I know,
I'm still
I know.
playing it. I
Right.
finished it. I'm
Anyway,
still playing it. Oh.
Super Metroid.
Super
Okay.
Metroid came out in
Right.
1994.
Okay.
I was 3 years old and I didn't own a SNES, so I couldn't play it.
No. Well, I mean, I was 9 years old and I could have played it, but I'm glad I didn't. Like I said. So,
Tough game, tough game.
I definitely see like I see. I do remember it coming out, and I remember Metroid on the NES and the Game Boy, and I didn't know into the Game Boy until I played the SNES one. But to me, I always had that fascination with Samus. Do you know, it was the armor, and
Cool armor.
just a space bounty hunter was very like
That was the thing that always came up. Bounty. I think that
Mhm.
was supposed to be the name of the game, wasn't it? Bounty
Mm.
Hunter or something like
Yeah,
that. Unofficial fact number 7. I think it was supposed to be called
facts.
Bounty Hunter. Fat facts.
And I just I always had that sort of like inclination, and I did want the game, but I'm just glad that my parents bought me something else instead of it, because I don't think I would have loved Metroid as much as I do now, having played it when I played it as a teenager than as a
Yeah.
kid.
You might
I think it would have tainted, I think, the franchise potentially for me. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. But yes, I mean it was
What is Super Metroid? What is Metroid? What's the story?
well, it follows. I'm actually quite surprisingly, like being the third game in the series, like each game kind of is a story in sequence.
Hmm.
The original Metroid, Samus had to get the space pirates and defeat the Metroids
Yep.
on the original planet. Oh god, here we go. Zebes, Zebes. I think I would say Zebes. But anyway, so she
Yes.
defeats the space pirates and Mother Brain in the Metroid,
Yeah.
and then they find out that there's more Metroids in number 2, so she has to go and destroy all the Metroids in number 2. And at the end of that, she saves one baby Metroid. And then this is where Hook comes in. And there's no sort of like distinct time gap between the end of 2 and start Super Metroid, but essentially Super Metroid starts with her handing the baby Metroid to scientists who want to experiment on it because they believe that the Metroid has powers that can benefit, the universe.
Yeah.
Because the Metroids themselves are parasites, and all they do is just feed and kill everything. Whereas these scientists think that it can actually help society and everything. And so the start of the game is you've handed that over, and you've left the sort of like space station that it's been housed, and then you get a distress call, so you go back.
Yep.
And I think this is probably one of the creepiest. It's very tense starting to a Super Nintendo game.
Oh, it's probably easily number one in terms of
it's you literally start entering in
it's
through the
very
left.
eerie. It's a very eerie
it's like
opening.
it's
cool as tits as well. It's such a good opening to a game.
For a starter of a video game, it's amazing. But yeah, and you go through you follow the path, and there's like dead scientists on the floor.
Yeah.
Again, something that you wouldn't really see in a Nintendo game. Like people have just been made and just left on the floor.
This was the first sort of foray into serious, potentially creepy Nintendo games, wasn't it?
Yes. I mean, we said like Resident Evil's, the first kind of like that horror sort of thing,
I wouldn't consider Metroid horror, but it was dark.
No, but
sci-fi,
it was
it
was suspenseful.
Yeah.
You kind of it kind of put you on edge, and then you basically follow the space station and you find the Metroid that's in captivity, which is fine, and then Ridley from the first game is still alive and steal the Metroid, and space station ends up going hits up and exploding.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's like that initial fight with Ridley, you've only got 99 health, and you just put into a boss battle straight away.
Yeah.
And it's the music. The music,
cool
when the music
kicks
in.
Well.
Oh,
the music is amazing.
And that's it. And you just ding, 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 ding.
It gets you pumped, doesn't it?
Fuck.
Yeah. It gets you pumped for the fight.
It does. It does. And so, and then you're battling and you're jumping, and you've got your weapons are naff, and you've got no rockets or anything like that. And it is. And I'm probably sure I must have died on that at some point, Jerry. I must have.
Oh, I can't imagine so. Yeah, I probably did the first time I tried it.
Doing. And then you defeat him, and he flies to the back of the screen, and it's like the sort of like the Mode 7 style thing where he comes flying towards the screen again. It takes advantage of like all of the graphics that the SNES could do at the time. And your space station sort of hits self-destruct, and that's it. And you've got to escape. And all of a sudden, you're racing back. You've got a timer on the screen, and you've got to get the fuck out of there. And I'm sure there's probably people that have just sat there and gone, "What do I do?" They're so stuck in the room till the timer goes down and it explodes and they die or whatever. So you just jip it out, and like that's that whole start of like you've just come down this whole path, and all of a sudden like the ship's swaying side to side. So not having got to go jump all the way back up to like however high it is, you've got to do it whilst it's also swaying. And I think the starter of that game is probably one of the best by country mile. Of any game, really do. I really do.
It definitely a consideration for me, because it is a really even nowadays, it's still a really cool start to a game.
Oh God, I know. I'm moving my phone because people are fucking texting me. I'm so bloody popular. There we go.
Loves me.
Oh no, it's not.
It's this Nick of Retro Gakatak. I love you. So what were your initial sort of your first time playing Super Metroid? Do you remember that first time you played the game?
Yes. So it's a hard game because it doesn't tell you anything.
It doesn't hold your hand.
No, there is no.
It expects you to just crack on and figure it out. I like that. Yeah. That's one of my any game that does that and does it well. I like that.
I mean, for the most part, the level design at the start is very much like, it's like so you land on planet Zebes, the second planet Zebes, and you've got two ways. You can go left or you go right.
Yeah.
You go right, you get to a wall.
Yeah.
That's level design. You get to, well, can't go right. I have
So
to
you
go
go
left. So you go left.
Which is
And
actually a
it's like,
really bonkers thing to do back then, because everyone will just
mm-hmm,
naturally go to
go
the
right.
right.
Yeah. And, it takes you round a path, like subtly takes you round a path to, so you get the morph ball and the bombs and that.
Hmm.
And it kind of, it doesn't hold your hand, but it leads you. And that,
It's
I
very
think, is
cleverly
amazing.
done.
It's amazing level design. Yeah, it leads you. And it leads you all the way around till you get a certain amount of like your missiles and that sort of stuff. You get a certain amount, and then it's kind of like, right, you've got your basics. Go.
Go.
That's it. It's now up
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
You can get through the pink doors with your missiles. You've got your morph ball and bombs, so you can go through the little holes in the wall, or you can make holes or whatever. You've got these now. Play the game, and it is very much, it's trial and error. A lot of it, you go into a room that you can finally get into to find that you can't go much further in because you either need another item, or in some cases, in some parts of the game, it's lava. The room's too hot, and the suit that you currently have on cannot, withstand the heat. And so it's like, yes, you can get in there now, but you need something else. You got to go find it. And there's very much a lot of that you have to mentally remember where when you've got something that you need to go back and get.
Yeah.
And there was a map, and the map,
the
as much
Metroid
as it was
didn't give you, did it?
It didn't have, no, and neither did the Game Boy. Obviously for constraints of memory, obviously. But yeah, the fact that they gave you a map on this was amazing. But the map was quite bare. Do you know what I mean? There was not a lot on it. It only covered the rooms that you went to until you found a map room.
Yeah, and it would
which
give you
would
like a
then
letter
give you
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, then it would give you the layout of the area, but it wouldn't
Yeah.
give you everything. Do you know what I mean? It would only give you the main sort of areas, all the secrets and all that sort of stuff.
Well, you still have to find them yourself, wouldn't you?
You still have to find them yourself. Yeah. So that just gives you the basic map of the area, and it had like symbols for the doors and all that sort of stuff, so you could kind of plan where you wanted to go and all that sort of stuff. But you would spend, I'd spend most of my time, like me in my head, as trying to be as logical as possible. Start in the top left and work your way down and around the maps, to make sure you cover everything. But there'd be things that you wouldn't be able to get until you got into another area or such, and coming back to it not holding your hands, there was like the run button. Holding down B would make you run.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the game. Nothing. And there's certain parts of the game where you had to run across a pathway, but if you weren't doing that full speed, you'd drop down, and then you'd have to go all the way back and you'd try it again. You wouldn't get any further.
There was a couple of moments I remember where I felt like I didn't know if I was doing the right thing, but like I must have Googled it or something, because I wouldn't have just thought.
Yeah.
I didn't think you could do the run where she starts doing like a bit of a sprint.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd be able to transition into another room and continue with that momentum of the sprint. Old school games in my head, you would cross that door and you would just be static and you'd have to
there again.
But there are moments where you have to sprint in one area, shoot a door, go through, and continue that sprint and do some super jump to
like a giant jump, or do your shine spark where you press down.
There's a lot of difficult, complicated moments like that in the game.
Yeah, there definitely is. And again, no hand holding and nothing, nothing to tell you what you need to do.
And if there's only 9-10-year-old
I would never have completed the game at 9 years old. Never have completed it. No way. Not unless I had that guide. Yeah. So, and even then I probably couldn't be able to read it properly. So, but there are some like animals on the planet that they show you how to do things. Well, they show you, running, and like there's like one like an ostrich thing, and it runs fast and then it ducks down and then jumps up in the sky, and it's trying that's those bits are trying to teach you, but it's not
right.
like, but it's
Didn't
not like
even notice that.
but you wouldn't. But yeah, that's the thing. You wouldn't notice. You just think of them as animals that are running away from you, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like these three little like goblin things that do the wall jump.
Yeah.
And again, you wouldn't know to like, oh, I'm just going to do that and do the wall jump. What the wall jump is like one of the hardest fucking things.
It's not easy.
Not easy in the slightest. It's weird. Like sometimes like I can do it and I can like wall jump. Like on one wall, just wall jump, wall jump.
Again,
and I can just easily scale so, and then I can play it again like a day or so later, and I cannot do it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's one of those when you get a bit of momentum with it, and you just but you can do it. But then there's moments it can be infuriating sometimes.
Yeah.
It's all part of the fun, though.
Oh, of course, it's all
cool games. It's infuriating.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and there's you can. The one thing I love about this is that the game is there is sort of a set path that you should generally follow, but you can do different routes. You can actually, like with the wall jump, you can wall jump certain parts and get something that you wouldn't get. You'd get out of sequence.
Yeah.
Which then makes it easier for you, elsewhere down the line, against another boss, like an earlier boss or something, Like I'm sure you can get the wave beam quite early, by doing wall jumps and stuff. But if you were to do it in the normal route, it would take you far longer to get it. But if you can get it at the start, it makes that whole start of the game such a breeze.
Is the wall jump available to you from the start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you might have been the one to have told me about the wall jump because I didn't consider it at any point. That's why in my head I thought it was an ability that you acquired.
Oh, you can straight away.
Okay.
Like a lot of the speedrunners, this game for like getting stuff out of sequence, and this game like the speedrun. I'm sure. I'm not going to say that this game like made speedrunners.
No,
but I'm sure it was one of the biggest games at the time.
You can
for
see
speedrunners.
Why it's a bit of a speedrunner's dream, sort of, because there's a lot to it, but. At the end of the day, one of my favorite things about this game is that from, I think it's the starting, either the very starting point or Mother Brain's basically right just above you the whole time, literally in like the room above you. Apparently, I'd seen that somewhere.
Oh. No, I'm sure the Mother Brain's down. Mother Brain's down, right all the way down. So there's a big giant gold statue with all the bosses.
Yeah.
That you have to defeat the 4 major bosses to get into. And I'm sure that's down. The area. I want to see Norfair.
Let me just quickly check my Metroid facts that I was looking at the other day. Hold on. History. Get rid of all this porno. Super Metroid.
Samus around porno.
Oh, that's looking for a picture this morning. Not Samus.
That's not Samus around porno, yeah.
No, stop it. I'm a good boy. Super Metroid facts. It must be there. 30 things I didn't know. Oh, the original Metroid game. It's the original Metroid.
It's the original Metroid game.
In the original, Mother Brain is basically right in the room above you.
There you go. I didn't know
really
that.
Cool. I don't know if it's
nice. Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Original Metroid. Don't listen to me. Original Metroid, not Super.
To be honest, I've never.
But that's cool.
I can't play the original Metroid for more than a couple of hours.
Why?
Like just for the fact that there's no map, there's no thing. You're just aimlessly walking around for hours. Yeah. That's trying. Oh no.
But
yeah, it doesn't think of it.
Zero Mission, 0 hour, Zero Mission is a remake.
Zero Mission is a remake. Yes.
With a map.
Yeah. Yes, that's more akin to Metroid Fusion, where you've got your map and you've got sort of like your waypoints and that sort of stuff. Which is why I said to you, play that one rather than the original, and just for the fact that it's far better.
Yeah,
it's far
better.
The thing.
I'd love to I know there is like a retro section on Twitch, but like if obviously I'd need to build a following before I can just play a random game and people will watch. Because that's where Snap's working out for me at the minute. I'm gaining a follower or two every time I play Snaps because it's quite popular at the minute, isn't it? So
it's a popular game.
Someone's going to just jump on just to see my Snap, see what deck I'm using or whatever.
Yes.
But I don't think I'd be able to just jump on Metroid Fusion and get people, I want to watch Metroid Fusion today.
Yeah, it's a very niche kind of game.
Yeah, it's just not on trend at the minute, is it? And that's my main gripe with Twitch, I think. Please don't cancel us or anything, but it is the only time you're going to get any viewers is by playing something that's currently ongoing. You know, Call of Duty.
I mean, like God of War Ragnarok's probably not recent for Twitch anymore. Do you know what I mean?
I ain't streaming Ragnarok because that's my game.
Well, that's how short-lived.
Oh yeah,
these kind of games are.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's the thing. You know, Ragnarok's still fresh in everyone's mind. Not a lot of people know how it ends, so they're gonna keep, you know, watching people play that for a while. But once it hits a certain point, probably January, no one will be asked.
Exactly.
Dead Space is out in January, the remake of Dead Space, so that'll be the main, because it's horror as well. People love horror, don't they? They love watching people play spooky games. So I might go with Dead Space. I don't know.
Well,
I love Dead Space.
I can't wait. I know you're gonna get Dead Space. You're gonna get Dead Space.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. They better not mess it up. I'm gonna cry if they mess up a remake of Dead Space. I love that game. It's the first Dead Space is my favorite, as good as the second one is. That first one's such a scary game. It's so good.
I know. Well, the thing is, you got me to try and play it. I remember that. Jumping pants.
Awesome. I love it.
I know. I'm sure we played it at college at one point as well. We definitely played 3 together. I remember playing. We started playing 3 together.
3 is not a great game, but co-op it's playable.
I think we would try to play it under the thing of that we were going to get like a wee little video thing out of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe some point in the future we can, you know.
We'll see what we can do. Get it on Twitch because everyone wants to watch Dead Space 3.
That's it. I know, that's true. That's true. Back to Metroid.
Metroid, Super Metroid, baby.
What did you think of the bosses? What were your? How did you find them?
I can't remember most of them, but I like Ridley. I actually do. I can kind of remember the second to last boss before Mother Brain, and just in the back of my head. It's in quite like a deep room. Does it not take up like 4 quadrants of the map? It's like quite a big room.
Yeah, so there's it's like, so you've got the giant, I can't remember, I don't remember its name. The Conker. It's like a giant Conker. That's the first main one that swings like a pendulum. And
the one that sticks the thing out of its belly button or something. What's that one?
No, that's Kraid.
Okay,
that's a different one.
That's okay. So, yeah, that boss was okay.
I think Kraid's amazing. Like, so you fight like a little teeny mini one, and I think that's more to reference in the original Metroid. In the original Metroid, he was tiny in the original Metroid, and I think in this they kind of done that as like not a piss take, but like kind of like a nod, if you were, to the fact that he was so small.
Yeah.
And he's 1 screen wide, and it's his head and his chest in the ground.
He's quite a big bugger.
Yeah, and then you fight him, and then you just see he stands up, and he takes up like 2 full lengths of the screen.
Yeah,
and you've got to jump up to get up to him to be able to go. He's one of my favorites. I generally think he's so good.
Right,
easy. He is easy.
Googled the bosses. I will name them, and we'll see if you can describe them or remember them.
Yep.
So the first one is Ridley, who you obviously see first and fight first.
Yeah, Godzilla, Purple Dragon Man, yeah.
Yeah, you don't defeat him straight away. He naffs off, doesn't he? And then you fight him later on.
Yeah.
There's Torizo, the Chozo statue.
Yes, that's the first the first Chozo statue. I mean, I don't class him as a boss.
Do you actually fight him?
Yeah. You have to shoot him in the chest. And yeah, as you hit him, his chest kind of like oozes out purple blood and kind of like disintegrates. And
Okay.
I always love like there's little nuances for every boss that as you're fighting them, they change color slightly darker,
Mm.
and they start
Yeah.
to get like
They sort of
disfigured as they're doing
deteriorate
it.
and stuff. Yeah, that's
Mm,
cool.
mm, mm.
Yeah, there's Creed. We've discussed Creed.
Yep.
There is Crocomire.
So he's the guy, the like crocodile, big stone crocodile with the big stingy arms,
Yeah, I
and you have
remember.
to shoot him,
I think he was a
shoot
pain
him
in
in
the
the mouth
ass.
to knock him back into the lava.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing from that is when he falls into the lava, you see bubbles in
Mm.
the lava going under
Oh, so he's
the
swimming
ground
off
where
somewhere.
you are. And as you run back out, he bursts back through, but it's his skeleton because the lava's obviously burnt
Oh
all of his flesh.
that
Yeah,
rings a
it's like a
bell now that
little
you say
mini
that.
ghost, yeah. And he
Yeah.
comes out and he's like but it's just skeleton and he just
Mm.
collapses.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
there
cool.
are good. There are good bosses in this game.
Mm-hmm,
Now that it's
mm-hmm.
sort of coming back to, I'm kind of gutted I've not had the chance to sort of have a. Not that it's an easy thing to quickly replay because it takes so long to get to
Yeah.
these bosses, but
Yes. Yeah.
there's Fantoon.
Fantoon is like I'm gonna say like a floating ghost ball bag.
Yeah, he kind
And
of. I'd say he kind of resembles a bit of like a xenomorph skull.
yeah, I think at
I
this
could
point in the game is where it kind of gets yeah, he fires the
Yeah,
blue flame. Yeah.
that's
I
Fantoon.
think I think of that bit because you've done pretty much all of like yeah, so like the left side and a lot of the bottom.
Hmm.
And he's like back up to where Samus' ship, but to the
Yeah,
right.
the
And
location
it's a
is the
crash
wrecked
it's a crashed
ship.
space cruiser. Yeah, it's a space cruiser that's
Hmm.
crashed.
I remember having
And
a tough time with that wrecked ship. I think.
that is quite a hard bit. It's very much because you've done. I'm not gonna. It's very samey, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. It's like you've already done the dark and dank kind of sort of like caverns and that. And I think at that point you kind of like you're in a ship. You kind of wanted something different, but again, it's all dark and dank, and you
Hmm.
just kind of like think that's the lull in the middle of the game to
Yeah.
me. Is that point? And he is a boss as a pain in the bollock.
I don't
Because if you
remember him.
if you hit him with a missile, he just does this like flame attack that you can't
Do
dodge.
anything, yeah.
So
And then you've got Botroon.
who is that?
Botroon from
Who's
Meridia.
that one?
Looks like a big worm. Oh yeah. I remember him. Goes through the walls and stuff.
Yeah. I'm expecting to fucking see this Conker guy, and I'm like, you've not even mentioned him.
Well, we'll get there,
He's
bro.
like one of the first bosses.
Is he?
Yeah,
I think this is going in order though.
you do him first, but it's fine
There's
if they don't class him as a boss.
yeah. Well, there's something called Spore Spawn
Yeah, that's him.
in Brinstar.
Over there.
I kind of skipped him because it said Spawn, so I take it there's a bigger version of him somewhere.
Oh, that's him.
Is that him?
That's him. That's the Conker guy.
Okay.
Like honestly, God, like see the music with him. It's so fucking eerie.
I
Like
don't
it's just
remember it.
proper on edge eerie music,
I'm
and
expecting
it's
there
always
to be a bigger
stuck in my
version of
head.
him. Oh, there's not.
But he's one of the first, and yeah, you've got to find
he's one of the
Mr. Right in
first
middle.
names on here. Yeah.
Mm.
I shouldn't have skipped him. It just because it said Spawn, I thought he was like baby version. Because after him is Kraid Spawn,
Mm-hmm.
and then after him is Kraid. So
Kraid.
I skipped them and just went to Kraid. Then you've got Dragon. I feel like he was the one I had a very tough time with
That's the
in
I'm
Meridia.
gonna say like a praying, like not like a praying mantis, but an insecty kind of guy.
He's like a bulbous thing.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. You've got his belly as a weak spot,
Yeah.
but he grabs you and takes you up to the top of the level and drops you to hurt you.
Okay.
But actually, I found out recently that there's actually a cheap way of killing him.
Okay.
So there's these like four things on the side of the level, and you can actually destroy one of them, and it sparks an electric current. And if he grabs you, you can use your grapple hook.
Yeah.
And if you can grapple hook that bit that's the sparking electricity, you electrocute him.
Yeah. Well,
And it's like it's an instant kill.
Yeah, it says here weaknesses grappling beam.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
it's
only
like
thing it
yeah, and
says.
I never knew that as a kid.
Switch to
No,
the grappling
that's
beam and
sort of
fire away at the turrets. Eventually,
mhm,
Dragon will bring you close enough to one. When you manage
mhm.
to strike one of them, the grappling beam will draw the electricity from the
Yep.
turret through the beam and Samus to damage Dragon. There you
Pretty
go.
cool. Mm-hmm.
Then there's another statue. Ridley guards.
Yeah, there's a
Ridley.
second Chozo Ridley.
And then you've got Mother Brain,
Mm-hmm.
which is a still holds up to this day very, very cool final
Yeah.
boss.
Yes.
Especially when you first beat her and
Yeah.
you think, job done.
I know. Well, that's the thing. That's the same as like the original Metroid. That was it. You shattered its containment glass. You know, the
Yeah.
jar that it's in, and you hit the eye with so many missiles whilst dodging the donuts and all that that come
Mm-hmm.
flying. And it's pretty much it's the carbon copy of the Metro game, and you think, awesome, job done.
Yeah.
Let's get the credits rolling. I've enjoyed this game, and then next thing you know, it turns into the fucking Mother Brain T
Yeah,
Rex
it's awesome.
Godzilla, and you're just like, that's fucking scary though,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I remember
Fucking spikes and everything,
I
and
was buzzing when it came up. When it got up,
mm,
I was thinking, "Whoa,
mm,
this is cool." And then
yeah,
it's just this massive being on the left side of the room, you little
mm-hmm.
Samus on the bottom right, and it's just you've only got that little bit of space to dodge attacks and to attack and stuff.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I remember really
Oh,
enjoying that.
I know. And then it hits you with that rainbow. Like you
Yeah,
just see it as you're hitting it, it's charging and charging and charging, and then it just hits you
yeah,
with that rainbow beam, and you're like, oh, fuck, now that's
yeah.
it, me done.
And
You
again,
know, until the Metroid saves you.
it does the sort of degrading thing when you're
Mm.
pummeling the boss
Hmm.
and it gets darker and
Yeah,
darker.
yeah.
It works so well with
Hmm.
just the atmosphere of it all and how
Yeah.
intense it gets fighting this what
Mm.
is obviously the final form of the
Yeah.
boss.
And then you get the Metroid saves you, and then it
Yeah,
recharges you.
that's such a cool moment as well.
It is so good, isn't it? It is
Yeah.
so good that it comes and saves you because that's the Metroid that obviously you saved, and
Mm.
it imprinted on Samus that that's its mother,
Yeah.
and it actually attacks Samus like a bit before the end,
Mm.
and drains Samus's power. Then realizes who she is and
Mm.
leaves, and then obviously comes back and saves Samus at the end, and then powers her up so she can take on Mother Rain.
Mm.
And then you've got that Omega rainbow beam thing, and
Yeah,
like,
man.
there's nothing more satisfying at that point at the end where you're just literally just like fucking whacking the Mother Brain in the face, like boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, and
It's
you can see
awesome.
it's trying to like attack, but every time you're hitting it, it's staggering back, and you're just like,
Mm.
"Fuck you dick!" Just like proper thinking, you know. And it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying,
It
and
is amazing
it
fair
is
play.
good. It's so good, and it's like up to like dude, up to I say when you get to that middle bit with the cruiser, it's a bit you get a wee lull, I think
Mm.
there. But after that, once you've got that bit, and like you've got Ridley left,
Mm.
and he's in that scene, and then you go and you kind of like you've got this sort of like right, I'm gonna get Ridley.
Yeah.
So I'm after him now, the
Mm.
bastard.
Mm.
And I think that point there, the difficulty of the game like shoots up as well.
Mm.
Because everything, all the items you've got up to that point have helped you and you have been able to progress in it. But at this point, like you've got your wave beam and that sort of stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like enemies that you could kill quite easily before. You're now fighting enemies that are like twice, three times harder,
Mm.
and it just that difficulty does spike up. And I think it's enough to keep you, they're getting harder to kill. So it's like you right at the back of the start of the game. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like you've got that motivation that it's a challenge to kill
Yeah,
people,
because
so you're back in at it, you know, and
yeah,
you've
because
got that all
you're
you
not
ride it all the way to the end.
you're not just repetitively going through the same corridors and just
Mm-hmm.
pasting the same enemies that you've just gotten used to. It's like just
Mm-hmm.
by reflex, you're just killing certain people over and over again. At least
Yeah, well, it's like
that
the
end
space
game.
pirates. Yeah, the space pirates you could kill easily before you can't kill now
Yeah.
because they've got they shield
Mm.
and you think deflect against off them, so you've got to think of another way now of trying to kill them. It's just that little nuanced, it's the same enemy, but they're slightly different that you need to figure out how to kill it.
Mm.
And it's the same with all the enemies from that point on. There's just something different that you've got to try and figure a new way of killing them.
Yeah.
And your items, that you collect, I think are brilliant, and they're nicely spaced out. And each one when you get it, you feel like you are progressing.
Mm.
You've just got that little extra power boost just to get you to the next one, if you know.
Yeah.
And your ice beams, wave beams, you 4 different types of beams, and when you've got all of them on at the same time, and you're just shooting like your ice beams through walls, and and it's like you just feel amazing. You just feel like you're just all powerful.
You get really overpowered in that game. Like even when you think, oh, I've got plenty of stuff now, there's still way more things that you don't even realize that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
It's for its time, it was very ahead of its time when it came out. And there's a reason it spawned its own genre.
Yeah.
Alongside Castlevania.
Yeah.
You then got the Metroidvania copycats, basically.
Yeah.
Because
which is the dime a dozen nowadays.
Yeah.
Everyone's had a go.
Is there like a Metroidvania game that you've played that you think sort of deserves like a bit of credit for doing the Metroid and Castlevania thing?
In all fairness, I've never seen like the Castlevanias like you've told me to play. Like I've never played them, and I will get around to playing them one day, like Symphony of the Night and
that is the only one you need to play.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean that's the only one from I think is like.
It's the only one. It's the only one that competes with Super Metroid. If you're talking of the Metroid games and the Castlevania games, as much as I enjoyed playing the first one a few months ago, hard as balls, still quite fun. There's something magical about Symphony of the Night. That is potentially top 10 all time for me.
Yeah.
And I only played it a couple of years ago. What will probably happen
though is that I'll play that and I'll be like, hold Super Metroid in that regard. I'm like, oh, this doesn't hold a patch to me. And it's just whatever came first, wasn't it? And that's the thing. Yeah.
I do like the whole gothic-y Dracula sort of. I like all that. If they do that sort of stuff well, I do like it.
Yeah.
And Symphony of the Night is probably the best example of your sort of vampire hunter sort of. But it is very much Super Metroid, just not sci-fi. Because even the map is bonkers. Like we need to do a video of Symphony of the Night because there's so much to talk about that game.
I will need to play it.
You will never finish it.
When my kids have left for university.
Yeah, you will never finish it. You'll be a pensioner before you finish that game.
It's the same Super Metroid though. It's so hard to 100% it.
Oh God, yeah.
Because there's so many secrets, you know what I mean? And one of the items you get is the X-ray visor, where you can see through. I think if you press select and you can see through the screen and all that.
There's a lot of faff with using that though, isn't there? Because it's you basically
that's the only thing. Yeah, if you want to 100%, you have to use that in every room to see what's this stuff in. Yeah, but I mean that's the only reason that's there for like 100%, or trying to show you where there's an exit or something in a room. But yeah, those kind of like where the maps show absolutely nothing, and it's great because it gives you that game longevity if you want to 100% it. But it's a fine line between wanting to 100% it and also taking the piss.
Yeah, because I have no intention
dragging the game out. I've never had any intention of 100% it.
As much as I enjoyed the game, and like there is like an escape sequence again at the end once you defeat Mother Brain, isn't there? And you've got to escape.
Yeah.
Much like you did
through the entire planet.
Yeah, which is really cool.
I think it gives you 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And even then, you get out.
And you still got to sort of use your noggin a little bit to remember the quickest path out of there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is it better than Halo's escape sequence? Halo 3? Halo 2? Halo 3?
No, I don't think there's anything better than a Halo escape. All 3 of them. All the original 3 anyway.
Really?
I love the Halo escape sequences. I do. I think it's because I think it's the dramaticness and the music though is what
Yeah.
and that's what I love about it. With Super Metroid, I love the Super Metroid one because it's like you're on the edge of your seat,
Mm.
tense. You know what I mean? You're like, I've got to fucking get out. Whereas with the Halo, it's like you're driving the Warthog, and yes, it's a little bit sort of like suspenseful, but I mean, you're in a big open world and you're just driving your Warthog because you want to race to the end. That there's a difference between the two. Do you know what I mean? You can't really. It's like apples and oranges. You can't. They're both fruit,
Mm.
but they're different.
They've got
You know
their
what I
own
mean?
little
Yeah,
uniqueness.
yeah. So like your Halo one, it's the music and the dramaticness and the gravitas is just it's like an opera as such. It's just building,
Yeah.
and it's a big crescendo. Whereas like Super Metroid is, it's just yeah,
Halo now classes as retro.
it is
2001.
one, two, and three. I'd go so
Probably,
far
yeah.
as. I mean, it's the 360.
I'm gonna be honest. I'd only really want to talk about the first one. Sorry.
We're
This
gonna
is
end this
this
conversation.
this is
right now.
my
I'm just know that.
this is my how you're like Resident Evil 4 is a bit meh.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my things. I think I played them late as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2 and 3 are meh. I will always forever sort of kind of hate Halo 2 because I hate the ending. It's probably the worst ending to a video game ever.
Yeah.
And I know it's that they did that cliffhanger thing of, you got to play the third one now. Yeah.
The chief will be back in
Yeah.
Halo 3. Yeah. Thanks for your money.
The third one is good, but
Mm-hmm.
I love the first one.
You know what you need? You
I
just
need
need
to play
someone
the
to
first
play
one.
with.
That is also true. Yeah, that is true. We have both got it on the Xbox, haven't we?
We do. We do. One day, when I win the lottery and I'm not working.
That would be handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, yeah, we could sit and play games all day.
Oh my god, that'd be so handy. Right, it's time to score
Score it up.
Super Metroid.
Okay.
Right, and
you go first.
Hold on.
You're bringing it up.
I can't bring it up. I'm not that prepared.
You can edit it up.
But I can have a look at my Google Sheets that should be updated because I believe I've updated it. Super leaderboard of awesome games. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Currently sitting at the top is Resident Evil 2002, the remake.
Mm-hmm.
And then rock bottom at number 8 is Golden Axe.
Golden Axe.
Where it will belong. We can tell you now.
Only 2 more episodes, it'll be off the fucking chart.
Oh, yes. Golden Axe will be 9th place for this video. Yeah. That is a cert.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I will give Super Metroid.
Did you enjoy the game?
I enjoyed it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I will give it a very solid 8.65.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right, so we're on the same.
865,000.
865,000. Do I have to bring this up? 865. Right. I am going to give it 875,000.
Oh my days.
Mm-hmm. So we're actually not that far.
You like it just that much more than I do.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's a phenomenal game. And some people class this as one of the greatest games of all time. And I would actually...
I get it. If I was to do my top 10 of all time, which I think we do need to do one day because it would just be interesting, it won't be on my top 10.
No.
But if anyone says Super Metroid is the 3rd best game of all time, I'll go, fair play to you. It is a superb game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
there's no argument from me. If someone's like that belongs in like the top 100 games at like the bottom, in the top 90s, I'd be like, sit down, jump up. Go home. In fact, no, get out of my house, get into your car, fucking drive off the bridge into the 4th river and kill yourself, you dick. It spawned a franchise, a genre. It's yes, it was the last kind of like thing of the original 3, and you didn't really get a proper game for like 20 years, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has such, we say prestige a lot, don't we? But I mean, it is one of those games that has that prestige where like most gamers will recognize, even if they've not played it, that
Well,
this is one of
it's
a
under your head
phenomenal
right
games.
now. There's Samus is right under you there.
That's why she's there.
There.
That's why Samus is my main in Smash Brothers. That's yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the I wouldn't say the only reason. One of the main reasons it wouldn't be in my top 10 is because of the genre it spawned. There's one game that goes above it for me.
Well,
The
yeah,
Vania of Metroidvania. There's one Symphony of the Night is a disgustingly good game, and I only played it in COVID. First time I played it, I spent a lot of COVID playing Symphony of the Night because I had the time. I had so much time. I still didn't finish it because when you think you finished the game, it literally flips the castle upside down and you go again. In reverse, upside down. It's batty. It's such a mental game. That's
actually pretty. That's a pretty good thing.
You need to play it. If you get the chance, just play it, and then we can talk about it at least.
Okay.
Because it is.
I will add it to my list.
Phenomenal. It's such a good game. But I think with our score,
so it is 870,000.
870,000 puts it pretty much third place, I think. Third place just above Mario Kart 64, just below Mario Kart DS. I feel like it should be higher than Mario Kart DS.
No.
Ooh.
To me, no. No. As much as I love Super Metroid, like I have pumped way more hours and got more enjoyment of Mario Kart DS.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, see, I would say it's not a patch.
But again, it's two different things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you talk about a racing game.
Mario Kart DS was like it's the first online game, so you're playing online. That it's the tracks are amazing, and you've got missions, and that's just everything amazing about Mario Kart on a portable device.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, I mean they are very close.
Before we sign off, then, in a nutshell. Does Metroid Dread compare to Super Metroid?
Oh.
Because I've still yet to play it. I can't really warrant paying full price for...
Metroid Dread is a phenomenal sequel. And it brings a lot of the upgrades, like the map that has the waypoints and the map tells you where secrets are and that sort of, it's those little tiny little things that we're saying that Super Metroid, would have been better if Super Metroid had them. And it does, but I don't think it's as good as Super Metroid.
But it's like, it's not like you went, no way.
It's not far off it though. I thoroughly enjoyed Dread. And I was like every night, finish work, come downstairs, step water, and I would play it every night. And I would be sitting there, and I'd be sitting there, and I 100%ed it. And I'd done the game, and I was like, that was amazing. I'm done. Never played it since.
Yeah.
I will do probably in a few years' time.
Yeah.
But Super Metroid, I've played Super Metroid 2, 3, 4 dozen times in my lifetime, because I love that game so much.
Yeah.
Whereas Dread, I loved Dread. It was an amazing game and amazing to play. But I think I would always come back to Super Metroid. If you can get it on the cheap. In fact, I can lend you my copy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can take my copy. I'll send it down to you. You can play it and you can ding it and you can compare. It's just it's slightly different enough to make it unique, but it's not a Super Metroid.
And that kind of just goes to show how good a game Super Metroid was, because you're talking about a almost 30-year-old game in comparison with the current day version of that game, the sequel.
Yeah.
And they're still not able to
capture that magic again. That's it.
And there you go.
Yeah,
Super
on that
Metroid
bombshell.
makes it third place on the slag. That's
There you
pretty
go.
good going.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
What do we talk
What are we
about
doing
next week?
Well, you bring up your thing.
Hold on.
Oh, come on, get your randomizer out. And I was going to say something else, but it's
Please don't say anything
program for
rude
kids.
on the live streams.
He says, as I've said,
Okay, we've done 2 of them already. Let's talk about how long can we talk about asteroids for? In all honesty,
5 minutes.
Yeah, asteroids is really good for its time. It's really boring now. Next.
I played it on the Atari with one button.
We've also done 2 of these. I need to update this. Moonwalker Resident Evil. Or the South Park
talk about
game.
Moonwalker again. South Park game.
Yeah. NBA Jam, James Pond, or Castlevania. I want to talk about Symphony of the Night, but we need to do that at a later date when you've had a chance to have a play.
I will play that.
You only need to play an hour's worth of it to get like a proper idea of what it is, but like it goes places. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Desert Strike,
Ooh.
Aladdin,
Ooh.
or Mortal Kombat. There's one classic there. Classic with a K.
Is that what we're going for?
Could do.
Is that what we're going
Basically, the original Mortal Kombat games. We can just sort of amalgamate it, because they're all basically the same, aren't they?
for? 1, 2, and trilogy?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that. So Mortal Kombat 1 to 3.
Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3.
Oh god, I love Mortal Kombat. Have you still not played Mortal Kombat 11?
No, I've not got it. Send me a copy of it.
Top 10 games of all time.
Ooh.
Possibly. That is such a fun
I
game.
love 10 though. I fucking love
10 is phenomenal. I think this is an improvement on it. Because they let you customize your characters a bit
Xbox
more.
Game Pass, isn't it?
Is it?
On it. I think so. They give them my shiny £1 for 3 months.
It's worth it for MK11. But we're talking about 1, 2, and 3. Old school, baby.
Next time. That's
right,
it.
Cheers, people, for watching the Retro Gak Attacks, where we
Thank you. By all means, if you want to disagree with us on social media, please do so.
Get stuffed and just agree with us.
Yeah, I'll probably tell you fuck off. My opinions are right. But that's just me.
We know we're right.
Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one.
Exactly. And on that note, cheers, people.
Bye-bye.
Get following, get subscribing.